Logan Grimnar, also known as the Old Wolf, is the chapter master or Great Wolf of the Space Wolves chapter of the Adeptus Astartes. He is a large and powerfully built warrior of exceptional skill, towering over the other Wolf Lords of the chapter, and has served in his role of Great Wolf for over 500 years. Logan Grimnar is also one of the most revered chapter masters of the Adeptus Astartes by the common citizenry of the Imperium for his willingness to safeguard the weak, innocent, and helpless, even while bringing death and destruction to the enemies of mankind. One of the most notable examples of his insistence towards saving innocent lives was during the events of the First Armageddon War, which Logan Grimnar, in his earliest days as Great Wolf, would lead his Space Wolves alongside the world's planetary defense forces and a company of Grey Knights into battle against the World Eater's traitor legion and the demonic forces of the demon Primarch Angron. Due to the planet's population having been exposed to the knowledge of chaos, the Inquisition wished to have the civilian population and those surviving members of the Planetary Defense Force sterilized and sent to forced labor camps until their deaths. Grimnar viewed this as an outrage and a betrayal of those who fought so valiantly for the Emperor, and either out of a sense of justice or perhaps simply to spite the Inquisition, Grimnar would begin coordinating the evacuation of those citizens who fought so bravely to defend the world. This led to various conflicts between the Space Wolves and the Inquisition, which would become known as the Months of Shame. These conflicts only ended when the ancient dreadnought Bjorn the Fell-Handed intervened. Another important event that occurred during the First Armageddon War was that Logan Grimnar slew a champion of the World Eater's Legion and took his axe as a trophy. This axe would become reforged into Grimnar's personal weapon, the Axe Morkai, named after the two-headed wolf of Fenrisian mythology that is said to guard the gates of death. However, despite being reforged, the Axe Morkai still glows with the dark power of the Chaos god Khorne, the Blood God. For it was Khorne who originally forged the weapon, making it a demon blade. Which leads one to wonder, could this blade be slowly yet surely be corrupting Logan Grimnar towards eventual worship of the Blood God, setting the Great Wolf upon the Eightfold Path? It's certainly a distinct possibility. The warriors of the Space Wolves chapter are known for their savage and violent nature, as well as their lust for battle. As such, it's easy to imagine members of the chapter falling to the worship of the Blood God. In fact, this has happened on at least one notable occasion, with Svein Wulfbad, who became infamous for defeating the Wolf Lord Harald Deathwolf in single combat. Not only this, but as detailed within the novel Space Wolf, those who join the ranks of the Space Wolves chapter also have to endure the trials within the gates of Morkai, where before they are allowed to drink from the cup of Wulfen and become Space Wolves, they must endure the temptations offered to them by the Chaos Gods themselves. Ragnar Blackmane, the youngest Wolf Lord of the chapter, noted that such temptations included being made into an even greater warrior, being reunited with the now flawless form of his former lover, and even offered the chance for revenge against the Grimskull tribe, who slaughtered Ragnar's former tribe of the Thunderfists. As such, it's entirely reasonable to assume that past temptations may be able to reassert themselves later on in life. There is also the fact that the Axe Morkai is a demon blade, and as such contains the bound essence of a demonic entity of Khorne within it. Demon blades themselves are also known to corrupt their wielders over time due to their constant exposure to the demon within. A notable example within the Adeptus Astartes occurred with Fulgrim, the Primarch of the Emperor's Children Legion. During the Great Crusade, Fulgrim and his legion enacted a xenocidal campaign upon the world of Laeron. It was upon this world, that Fulgrim would discover within a great temple a silver sword which would become known as the Layer Blade. This blade contained the bound essence of a demon of the god Slaanesh, the chaos god of hedonism, pleasure and excess. Over time, the demon within the blade would corrupt Fulgrim towards the worship of Slaanesh. But there is also some circumstantial evidence towards the possibility that Logan Grimnar has already begun to take his first steps along the Eightfold Path. The first of which is that Logan Grimnar has led his chapter into battle against other Imperial forces whenever he considers them to be a threat to his chapter. But not only that, Logan Grimnar has done so eagerly and even joyfully, insinuating that there might be a hidden agenda behind launching such attacks beyond that of simply exterminating a threat or saving innocent lives. Not only this, but the 2nd edition Space Wolves Codex also features the following poem in regards to Logan Grimnar, which is also known informally as the Saga of the Old Wolf.
Logan Grimnar, bloody-handed warrior. He piles the skulls of his enemies. He builds a mound of the fallen. His foes sweep rivers of woe. Logan Grimnar, strong wolf of the pack. His sword hungers for red flesh. His guns thirst for battle. He laughs amidst the war din. Logan Grimnar, father of the wolves. His sons haunt his enemies, slay them where they falter, and bring their pelts to Fenris.
What's important to note is the specific language utilized in this poem. Piling the skulls of one's enemies is an incredibly cornate act. After all, one of the main battle cries uttered by worshippers of Khorne is in fact, blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne. The passage describing the sword hungering for red flesh could be interpreted as Logan Grimnar feeling compelled to spill the blood of one's enemies. Again, this in turn could also be seen as a variation of the blood for the blood god mantra. However, it's important to point out that the Space Wolves and Fenrisians in general are noted for their savagery and violence, which is part of daily life upon a death world, where weakness can mean one's death. In addition, there is always the chance that the demon within the axe Morkai, while still present, could have been made to lay dormant due to its reforging at the hands of the chapter's Iron Priests, the Space Wolf equivalent to Tech Marines, and the blessings at the hands of the Rune Priests, the chapter's equivalent to Librarians. But if this were the case once before, it seems likely that it is not any longer. During the siege of the Fenris system, the Thousand Suns traitor legion, led by their Primarch the Demon Prince of Tzeentch, Magnus the Red, launched an all-out offensive upon Fenris. Towards the end of the conflict, Logan Grimnar and Magnus the Red would face off against one another in single combat. The Primarch was protected by various wards and talismans that prevented mortal weaponry from harming him. However, when Grimnar would strike a blow with the axe Morkai, it would grievously wound the demon Primarch, shattering his wards, and in turn created a psychic shockwave that registered deep within the warp, to the point where Khorne himself would erupt into joyous laughter at that fact. The demon Primarch would eventually be banished back into the warp by the actions of the Grey Knights. If the demon within the axe Morkai had remained dormant for any reason, then hearing its master's laughter reverberate through warp space could have indeed awoken it, and perhaps even have kick-started its corrupting influence upon the old wolf. Following the siege of the Fenris system, the native tribesmen of Fenris, from whom the Space Wolves draw their new recruits from, were rounded up and purged by the Grey Knights due to either simply looking upon or fighting against the demonic hordes of Tzeentch. Despite the protests from the other Wolf Lords, Grimnar gave his blessing to allow the Grey Knights to perform this action. Now, while it could be argued that the reason Grimnar allowed the Grey Knights to slaughter his people was due to the fact that they simply could not afford to fight against the Grey Knights and the Inquisition, this entire act does seem to go against Grimnar's very nature. The Space Wolves chapter was unique in the fact that recruits could only have come from the native tribespeople of Fenris, due to the native Fenrisians being the only humans who could accept the Canis Helix into their bodies and survive. As such, by allowing the Inquisition to slaughter the majority of their native population, the Space Wolves were seemingly condemned to extinction as a result, and most likely would have been a dead chapter in but a few short generations, were it not for the existence of the Primaris Marines. As such, perhaps the demon within the axe Morkai had managed to subtly manipulate Logan Grimnar into allowing these tribesmen to be slaughtered, which in turn spills their blood to empower the blood god further. After all, while Khorne may prefer the blood of warriors to be spilled in his name, Khorne in fact cares not from whence the blood flows, only that it does. What do you think? Could Logan Grimnar be falling to chaos, or not? Leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.